House will come to order. All those present in the chamber, please remain standing until the colors are posted.
Colors. All. Present. Arms. Step. Colors. Color trans. Order.
At this time, my sons, Ryder and Leo Kunkel, will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. You just stand right there. You need the mic. Where's the microphone? Stand up. They wanted to stand up. Oh, okay, you can do that. But they need the mic. Okay, there you go. Oh, okay.
I pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Airman First Class Franks, Airman First Class Campbell, Airman First Class Knight, and Senior Airman Miller from the Mile High Honor Guard for presenting the colors today. And thank you, Ryder and Leo, for leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance. At this time, on behalf of the entire House, thank you to the wonderful Tony Exum Jr., the son of our very own Representative Tony's the son of our very own Representative Tony Exum. He honored us this morning with his rendition of the national anthem. Members, we have some opening day business to conduct, and if there's no objection, Robin Jones will be appointed as Chief Clerk. The Chief Clerk has received the communications from the Secretary of State concerning appointment of our two newest members. Representative Mary Young to fill the vacancy in House District 50 created by the resignation of Representative Rochelle Galindo. And Representative Richard Holtorf to fill the vacancy in House District 64, created by the death of our beloved Representative Kimmy Lewis. If there's no objection, the documents will not be read at length as they have been printed in the journal. Thanks for the pass on that, Minority Leader Neville. Representative Mary Young was elected by the House District 50 Vacancy Committee to fill the seat and was given the oath of office by me in the House chamber on June 27, 2019. And Representative Richard Holtorf was elected by House District 64 Vacancy Committee to fill the seat and was given the oath of office by me in the House chamber yesterday on January 7, 2020. The names of Representative Young and Holtorf have been added to the roll call. Mr. Randall, please call the roll.
Representatives Arndt, Baisley, Beckman, Benavides, Byrd, Bachenfeld, Buck, Buckner, excused, Buentale, Caraveo, Carver, Catlin, Coleman, Cutter, Duran, Escar, Exum, Froelich, Garnett, Geithner, excused, Gonzalez Gutierrez, Gray, Hanson, Herod, Hooten, Holtorf, Humphrey, Jackson, Jaquez Lewis, Kennedy, Kip, Kraft Art, Landgraf, Larson, Liston, Lontine, McCluskey, McKean, McLaughlin, Melton, Michelson Janae, Mullica, Neville, Pelton, Ransom, Representative Ransom, Rich, Roberts, Sane, Sandrich, Singer, Sirota. Snyder. Soper. Sullivan. Tipper. Tatone. Valdez A. Valdez D.
Good morning, Colorado!
Van Winkle. Weissman. Will. Williams. Wilson. Young.
Okay. With 63 present and 3 excused, that's the fastest the roll call has ever gone. We have a quorum. Majority Leader Garnett.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. There's new mics up here that you can't actually move. Good morning, everyone.
Wow.
Madam Speaker, I move that a committee of 3 be appointed to notify the Senate that the House is organized and ready for business.
Seeing no objection to the motion, Representatives Lontine, Chairman, Hawkes, Lewis, and Williams will notify the Senate that the House is organized and ready for business. Majority Leader Garnett.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move that a committee of 3 be appointed to notify the Governor that the House is organized and ready for business.
Seeing no objection to the motion, Representative Melton, Chairman, Froelich, and Buck will notify the Governor that the House is organized and ready for business. At this time, the committees to notify the Senate and Governor will be excused to proceed to the Senate and to the office of the Governor. The House will be in recess until the House committees return, so make it fast. guys are back? You went to the governor? Ready. The House will... Am I on? The House will come back to order. The House will come back to order. Representative Lontine.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Well, we were able to make the long and perilous journey over to that dark place known as the Senate, and they were not prepared to recognize us. They were still in the middle of their opening remarks and still had to wait for their roll call, and then finally they let us in, where we were able to let them know that we were organized and ready for business, and we hope that they were too. So they said they were. We'll see.
Any Representative Williams or Huckes Lewis?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. We did enjoy a wonderful choral group that was singing when we arrived. So they were enjoying their entertainment, but I think we have aroused them now and they're ready to work.
Representative Williams.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. To be fair, we think it was their lullaby for their normal nap that was going on in there. And once we actually entered the chamber, they were a bit confused as to who we are. They got one of the committee member names right, but once they were able to get their bearings, they were notified properly, and they said they would get themselves organized, but time will tell.
Thank you, committee. It's obvious that the Senate is just really anxious to get to work. Representative Melton.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. We, the committee, went to go and notify the governor. We actually were so ahead of time, the governor wasn't quite ready for us, and we had to wait for him a little bit. He did congratulate us on being the first chamber that was ready to notify him, and so as a House, we continue to do the great work of the people as opposed to whatever the other chamber does.
Representative Froelich.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. As a side note, we can be assured that the Senate choral performance was nothing compared to Tony Exum Jr. The governor wanted to convey that he looks forward to a successful, bipartisan, smooth-running session for the next 120 days.
Representative Buck.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And he did say that everything should be coming out of here in a bipartisan support. So we're just going to hold him to that and hold the chamber to that. And welcome, everybody. Happy New Year.
Thank you, members. So we will go into recess so the members from the Senate can actually address us. The House will stand in a brief recess while our Senate visits us. Representatives, or Senators, Zenzinger, Bridges, and Rankin. Senator Zenzinger.
Well, good morning, everybody. We are here to inform you that the Senate is organized and ready for business. We also heard a rumor that due to the leap year that you all wanted to go 121 days, the Senate is going to adhere to the position of 120, just so you know. Senator Bridges.
Wait, just very, you guys. You don't know how good you have it here. So, hey, quick, calm
Isn't
down,
that true?
calm down. Man, the House, you guys. Although I asked you not to leave me alone with those people, and now when you make noise, it's like, shouldn't there be some decorum here? Respect the building. Seriously, though, we are ready to move forward and hopefully pass some good legislation this year. I know there's a lot going on, and we are looking forward to good bills, some good bipartisan work, and please don't leave me alone with these people again this year.
Senator Rankin.
Thank you. It's an honor to be back in the chamber that still feels like home, so it's great to be here. As best I can tell, the Senate is organized, awake, alert, and ready to go to work. So we look forward to working with you for a very productive year.
I understand, Senator Rankin, that when they're awake and asleep, it really doesn't look that different. But thank you all for coming over. The House will come back to order. Introduction of resolution. Mr. Randall, please read the title of HJR 20-1001.
House Joint Resolution 1001 by Representative Becker, also Senator Garcia, concerning joint session of the House of Representatives of the Senate for the purpose of hearing a message from His Excellency Governor Jared Polis and appointing a committee to escort the governor.
Majority Leader Garnett.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move that the rules be suspended and HJR 1001 be given immediate consideration.
The motion is to suspend the rules for immediate consideration of HJR 1001. If there's no objection, we'll proceed with a voice vote on this motion and on the following motion. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. The motion passes. Majority Leader Garnett.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move that HJR 1001 be adopted. Again, this is a resolution that sets the date and time for the joint session for the governor's State of the State address.
The motion is for the adoption of HJR 20-1001. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say no. The resolution is adopted. Pursuant to the resolution, Representatives Hooton, Arndt, and Sandridge will serve as the committee to escort the governor for the State of the State address. There are a number of changes in membership of committees. Mr. Randall, please read the complete list of appointments to committees.
House Committees of Reference. Committee on Appropriations. Representatives Chris Hansen, Chair. Tanea Escar, Vice Chair. Shannon Byrd. Rod Bockenfeld. James Coleman. Chris Kennedy. Tracy Kraftarp. Julie McCluskey. Rod Pelton. Kim Ransom. Janice Rich. Committee on Business Affairs and Labor. Representatives Tracy Kraftarp, Chair. James Coleman, Vice Chair. Jenny Arndt. Shannon Byrd. Monica Duran. Hugh McKean. Shane Sandridge. Mark Snyder. Tom Sullivan. Kevin Van Winkle. Dave Williams. Committee on Education. Representatives Barbara McLaughlin, Chair. Bree Bunteo, Vice Chair. Mark Baisley. Perry Buck. Janet Buckner. James Coleman. Lisa Cutter. Tony Exum Sr. Tim Geithner. Colin Larson. Julie McCluskey. Daphna Michelson-Janae. Jim Wilson. Committee on Energy and Environment. Representatives Dominique Jackson, Chair. Edie Hooton, Vice Chair. Meg Froelich. Tim Geithner. Kathy Kipp. Lois Landgraf. Larry Liston. Lori Sane. Emily Sirota. Alex Valdez. Mike Weissman. Committee on Finance. Representatives Leslie Herod, Chair. Shannon Byrd, Vice Chair. Susan Beckman. Adrian Benavides, Rod Bockenfeld, Matt Gray, Tracy Kraftarp, Janice Rich, Shane Sandridge, Mark Snyder, Tom Sullivan. Committee on Health and Insurance. Representatives Susan Lontine, Chair. Yadira Caraveo, Vice Chair. Mark Baisley, Susan Beckman, Janet Buckner, Dominique Jackson, Kyle Mollica, Matt Soper, Carrie Tipper, Brianna Titone, Perry Will. Committee on Judiciary. Representatives Mike Weissman, Chair. Leslie Herod, Vice Chair. Adrian Benavides, Rod Bockenfeld, Terry Carver, Serena Gonzalez-Gutierrez, Dylan Roberts, Matt Soper, Carrie Tipper. Committee on House Services. Representatives Kyle Mollica, Chair. Shannon Byrd, Hugh McKean, Kevin Van Winkle. Committee on Public Health Care and Human Services. Representatives Jonathan Singer, Chair. Daphna Michelson-Janae, Vice Chair. Yadira Caraveo, Lisa Cutter, Serena Gonzalez-Gutierrez, Richard Holtorf, Sonia Jaquez Lewis, Lois Landgraf, Colin Larson, Larry Liston, Kyle Mullica, Rod Pelton, Mary Young. Committee on Rural Affairs and Agriculture. Representatives Dylan Roberts, Chair, Donald Valdez, Vice Chair, Jenny Art, Bree Bunteo, Mark Catlin, Richard Holtorf, Julie McCluskey, Rod Pelton, Brianna Tatone, Barry Will, Mary Young. Committee on State Veterans and Military Affairs. Representatives Chris Kennedy, Chair, Sonia Jaquez Lewis, Vice Chair, Monica Duran, Steve Humphrey, Kathy Kipp, Susan Lontine, Janice Rich, Emily Sirota, Dave Williams. And Committee on Transportation and Local Government. Representatives Matt Gray, Chair, Tony Exum Sr., Vice Chair, Terry Carver, Mark Catlin, Meg Froelich, Edie Hooten, Stephen Humphrey, Jovan Melton, Alex Valdez, Donald Valdez, Jim Wilson.
At this time, Minority Leader Neville and I will speak about our agendas for the upcoming session. I get to go first. Once again, good morning, everyone, and welcome to your Colorado State Capitol. It's my distinct pleasure to welcome each and every one of you to the first day of our 2020 legislative session. I'd like to first take a moment to greet and thank all of the family members and loved ones gathered here to watch as we continue our work on behalf of the people of Colorado. I know I speak for everyone in the chamber when I say we appreciate your support and your patience as we take on this important work. Thank you also to Majority Leader Alec Garnett and to our wonderful Democratic caucus and leadership team. You all are amazing. To Minority Leader Neville and the Republican leadership team, I look forward to working with you to find bipartisan solutions to Colorado's most pressing challenges, and to be done every day by 4 o'clock in the afternoon. While I'm truly excited to see my colleagues here today, I'd especially like to extend a warm welcome to Representative Mary Young, who will be starting her first session representing the people of Greeley in the legislature this year. I'd also like to take this opportunity to mention someone who is dearly missed by everyone in this chamber, Representative Kimmy Lewis. As everyone who had the pleasure of meeting Representative Lewis, you know that she was a devoted fighter for rural communities and a caring, responsive leader. Her spirit and tenacity will be dearly missed by all this session. I'd like to welcome our newest member, Richard Holtorf, who is the new representative for House District 64. You, sir, have some big shoes to fill, literally. I think they were cowboy boots. We look forward to working with you. This year, we also lost a true trailblazer and an incredible presence in the building, Speaker Ruben Valdez. The first Latino Speaker of the House in Colorado, Ruben Valdez was an inspirational figure and a mentor to many. I'd like to recognize the former speakers in attendance today, Speaker Frank McNulty and Speaker Terrence Carroll. Thank you for being here. I'd also like to recognize 3 former representatives who are here today, Representatives Max Tyler, Dave Young, and Paul Rosenthal. Thank you to all of our local elected officials who are here today, including, Matt Jones is a former representative. I'm sorry, Matt. Other local elected officials, CU Regent Leslie Smith, Boulder City Council member Aaron Brockett, and any other local elected officials, Boulder Valley School District Chair and Board member Kathy Gebhardt and Tina Mew, County Commissioner Randy Wheelock, Boulder County Commissioner Elise Jones. I hope I got everyone. Anyone else I missed, thank you all for being here. A year ago, as I welcomed you to the start of the 72nd General Assembly, I wasn't shy about our bold plans to work on behalf of the people of Colorado. In my speech, I promised that as Speaker, I would work to keep this body focused on investing in our state's bright future, building an economy that works for all, and protecting the Colorado way of life. As I stood at this podium and accepted the Speaker's gavel, I talked about the obstacles our state faces. I called on all of you to put your ideas, your passion, and your determination to work towards lowering the cost of healthcare, investing in education, building a fair economy, tackling climate change, combating homelessness and the housing crisis, confronting the opioid epidemic, and reforming our criminal justice system. Your response, one of the most historic, productive sessions in our state's history. "120 long days flew by as the legislature wrote, discussed, and debated 598 bills and 4,500 amendments. Thank you all. We passed laws that are moving our state forward to protect the Colorado way of life for years to come. We proved that although inaction and gridlock may have the federal government in a headlock, good government is still alive and well in the Centennial State. While Washington, D.C. gets itself stuck in the mud it's so busy slinging, our state moves forward. While some in D.C. are still looking for ways to repeal the Affordable Care Act and strip health care away from millions of Americans, we joined together, Republicans and Democrats, and found innovative ways to save consumers money on health care, like our bipartisan bill to prevent surprise medical bills from costing families thousands. As Congress continues its decades-long failure to address skyrocketing costs of prescription drugs, here at home, we passed a first-in-the-nation bipartisan bill to cap the cost of insulin. Although it wasn't always easy, we took on some of the biggest challenges our state faces. While the Trump administration denies scientific consensus on climate change and actively undermines efforts to address it by rolling back environmental protections left and right, we fought hard to protect the air we breathe, the water we drink, the mountains we hike, and the rivers we fish. We passed landmark oil and gas reforms to give our communities a say in what goes on in their own backyards, and took a measure to the voters to successfully secure new revenue for our water plan. We set our state down a path towards a clean energy future and set bold targets that we intend to meet while keeping our economy, the future of Colorado workers, and the next generation in mind. I don't know of a single parent in Colorado who doesn't want their children to have a better life than we do. I know I want that for my kids, Leo and Ryder. I want them to grow up in a more just, more compassionate, and more conscientious world. In this House, that means working to build an economy that works for all. That's why I'm so proud that last year we delivered on equal pay for equal work and created college savings accounts to help families plan for their children's future. Our effort to build an economy that works for all didn't end there. We strengthened renters' rights and the rights of mobile homeowners and residents, and made one of the largest investments in affordable housing in our state's history. Despite our state's unique budget constraints, we managed to make significant investments in our future. We paid down the negative factor by $100 million, boosting investment in our classrooms. We passed a budget that included $20 million for rural schools and $22 million for special education programs. And just in case you've never heard Jared Polis speak, I'll have you know we also expanded full-day free kindergarten to every school district in our state. We did great things last year and truly made a difference in the lives of people in every corner of our state, from the western slope to the Front Range and from southern Colorado to the eastern plains. We worked around the clock, literally, on behalf of our constituents because this house belongs to them. We work for the people, and there's more work to be done. This year, we will strive to create a more just economy and to make our state affordable for all. So, as long as there are families facing the harrowing prospect or the cruel reality of homelessness, this House moves forward. As long as there are Coloradans making the impossible choice of paying for prescription drugs or paying for groceries, this House moves forward. As long as there are teenagers attempting to take their own lives or fearing a school shooting, this House moves forward. As long as our schools are underfunded and our classrooms are overcrowded, this House must move forward. Nationally, this year may go down as one of the most bitter and divisive in our nation that we've ever been through. Obstructionism, corruption, and partisan logjams have driven Washington from bad to worse. And while I remain hopeful that a change will soon come in DC, I invite you to join me in taking matters into our own hands to prove once again that government can still work for the people. The interim has flown by, and as we begin to see this new session, I'm asking you all to do it once again. Work together with diverse stakeholders on all ends of the political spectrum to find solutions. Coloradans need and are demanding a more affordable state and a more just economy. Too many people are not feeling the benefits of our state's growth. That's where our focus should be. Every Coloradan should have the opportunity to share in our state's prosperity. To get there, we'll have to have hard conversations and make difficult decisions together. We'll need Republicans and Democrats alike to work hard, listen to stakeholders on all sides, and come to the table ready to work. My door is always open, and all ideas that will improve the lives of Coloradans are ready to be considered. We will need everyone at the table to make housing, healthcare, and higher education more affordable. We need everyone at the table working to create a more fair and more rational criminal justice system, one that ends the inhumane practice of capital punishment once and for all. We need everyone at the table working to create a more fair and more rational We need everyone at the table to promote responsible gun ownership and move forward on gun safety initiatives that have already been adopted on a bipartisan basis in states across the country. We need everyone at the table working to heed the call on climate change and protect workers and communities impacted by a changing climate and energy economy. We need everyone at the table to deliver on our school safety initiatives and increase access to mental health support, especially in our schools. I have no doubt in this body's ability to work together and find bipartisan ways to get things done. House members have already reached across the aisle to make sure that we tackle the epidemic of teen nicotine use in our state. Last year, we promised to deliver on paid leave. We brought our state closer than it's ever been to guaranteeing that every working Coloradan can take the time off they need to care for a loved one or newborn without the fear of financial ruin. The time is now. We need stakeholders on every side of this issue to return to the discussion and work out a paid family leave program that is fiscally sustainable, workable for business, and makes a real difference for working families. We also need everyone to come back to the table to tackle one of the most pressing issues facing our state, our retirement crisis. Our population is aging and our economy is changing. Forecasts show that 1 in 5 residents will be over 65 by 2050. Meanwhile, more and more people in Colorado are participating in the gig economy and taking non-traditional jobs that don't provide retirement plans. A modern and flexible economy requires a modern and flexible retirement savings system, and that's what we aim to achieve this year. As we move forward this session, we must keep in mind the unique challenges our state's fiscal policies present. Colorado's handcuffed by a restrictive and antiquated law that doesn't allow the state to benefit from our booming economy and doesn't let us make the investments we need. Transparency in our budget is critical so that Coloradans can easily learn about where their budget dollars are going. That's why I'm excited in the next few months we'll have a visual, interactive display of the state's budget available for the public on the General Assembly's website. This is a critical step in providing Coloradans with an accurate and accessible picture of our state's finances to increase their trust in how we're spending their dollars, because every single dollar counts. Given our state's restrictions, we have to keep in mind that our state revenue is precious. Every single dollar must be spent wisely. This means being thoughtful about any permanent decisions we make that could have an impact on our state's bottom line. Permanent tax cuts that only further inequalities, exacerbate the achievement gap, make our higher ed institutions less competitive, and hinder our ability to meet our already dire transportation needs will not put us on a path to becoming a more prosperous and equitable state. How we prioritize within our budget is of vital importance. We need to ensure that all of our dollars are being used in service to key goals. While we've made substantial investment in K-12 education by paying down the budget stabilization factor, we remain focused to bring it down even further and will continue to work on longer-term school funding solutions. This session, we will once again face the challenge of finding new money to invest in our state's transportation system. Over the past few years, we've made great strides to make multi-year commitments and find creative ways to set aside a significant amount of money for transportation. But there's no secret pot of money hiding in the couch cushions. Continuing these investments in transportation is challenging. So we're going to find actual solutions to invest more in transportation. If we're going to find those solutions, members on both sides of the aisle will have to bring forward specific solutions that voters haven't already rejected and that are serious attempts at bipartisan solutions. Past proposals like unspecified across-the-board budget cuts to every state department impacting programs like services for the disabled or school funding is not a realistic approach to solving transportation. Cutting Coloradans off Medicaid is not the answer. Members need to show where they believe money for transportation can come from and make good faith efforts to find common ground. I know this is an issue that every single one of us cares about, and if we're going to make progress, we need to do it together. And I know we can do it. From criminal justice reform to the great work of the School Safety Interim Committee, we've seen incredible bipartisan progress on important issues. We must continue this progress for the people of the state. We will also continue to grapple with a host of difficult healthcare challenges as we attempt to improve access and affordability across our state. We will work to lower the cost of prescription drugs, an issue that affects Coloradans from the newborn nursery room to the hospice wing and every point in between. We will increase transparency in drug pricing and address the root causes that have made the cost of prescription drugs soar. Our work is cut out for us. As long as we keep in mind who we are working on behalf of, our path forward should remain clear. So join me, bring your best ideas to the table, and let's get things done. On behalf of every veteran and every family struggling to afford the cost of housing, come to the table. On behalf of future generations of Coloradans and their right to enjoy our state's natural treasures just like we have, come to the table. On behalf of every young person caught in an unjust criminal justice system, come to the table. On behalf of every child in an underfunded classroom in Colorado, and on behalf of every teacher working to give those kids the best education possible, come to the table. On behalf of every person living with a chronic illness who's rationed their prescription drugs because they couldn't afford the cost, come to the table. Come to the table and let's move Colorado forward together towards prosperity, towards justice, and towards progress. This will be my last session serving as your colleague and as your speaker. It will be my last session representing the wonderful people of House District 13 under the Gold Dome. Yay. And while there's a great deal left to do and a great deal of new memories to make before I close this chapter, I can already tell you that working here with you all has been the honor of a lifetime. It is with immense pride that I declare the House open for business for the second regular session of the 72nd General Assembly of the great state of Colorado. At this time, I recognize Minority Leader Neville for the purpose of addressing the House.
Guess I should try the Jeff Bridges mode here, see if it works. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I thought about just scrapping this entire speech and just starting the day off with making a motion to sine die, but something tells me I could get 24 votes. I don't know if I could get 9 more for that. So here we go. First off, let's observe a moment of silence for Representative Kimmy Lewis of Kim, Colorado, in House District 64. Thank you, members. Her family is grateful, and our caucus is grateful for the kind and classy way all of you on both sides of the aisle honor her life. Thank you, Madam Speaker, Mr. Majority Leader. I'm grateful as well to be able to welcome our new Chief Clerk of the House, Robin Jones. Robin, I know you've worked hard these past months, and we'll do everything we can to keep you on your toes and absolutely befuddle you. I'm just kidding. I don't think that's going to be an easy task to befuddle Robin. He knows exactly what he's doing. Ladies and gentlemen, we make a lot of decisions down here. Sometimes we get it right, sometimes we get it wrong. One thing I am absolutely certain about is I made the right decision when I asked my stunningly beautiful wife to marry me. Honey, I couldn't do this job without you and your gentle, loving spirit next to me. I love you. Madam Speaker, this is the 4th opening day speech I've given. It's been an honor to serve as Minority Leader, and I'd like to take a moment to thank my colleagues. You and your predecessors are a remarkable group of people, from entrepreneurs to engineers, from ranchers to civil servants, to lawyers and pilots, from servicemen and women to businessmen and women. I am proud to have served alongside you. You are an accomplished people, and your constituents are fortunate to have had you, as you are they. You represent Colorado from Grand Junction to Burlington, from Fort Collins to Trinidad. You are the voice of so many people, and I appreciate you. Like it or not, in this room we are all professionals, professional politicians, at least for now. And sometimes I hear an explanation, it's not personal, it's politics. Well, let me confide in you. It's all personal to me. It's personal because I'm blessed to be a husband and father of 3 daughters. I wouldn't be here but for them. Colorado is our home. Many of you have a similar story. And so what we do in this room over the next 120 days matters a lot. It's personal. In this room, we'll forge political fortunes, but more importantly, the future of our children. In this room, politics matters, but so does principle. Government exists to protect life, preserve freedom, and promote justice. People must be free to pursue not just happiness and prosperity, but also wholeness and dignity. In many respects, our laws are the ground rules for this. This role of protecting life and preserving freedom was laid down by our founders. They understood that time would come when life, liberty, and other rights would be threatened because our founders understood human nature. That also means they recognized the inherent dignity of all persons, the wise, the well-born, and the rich, alongside the ones regarded as nobodies by the world. Republicans understand this dignity extends to the most able among us, but it also extends to those who need our care and protection, including unborn children. These are people we've been sent to represent and defend in this remarkable era. And we live in a time of unrivaled prosperity. Life is good for many people. A recent editorial in the Wall Street Journal was entitled, "The 99% Get a Bigger Raise." It explained that employee compensation rose by 4.5% in 2017 and 5% in 2018, not just for the rich, but the 99%. The numbers were even higher in Colorado, with wages and salary increasing 6.1% in 2019. Inflation is low, just like unemployment. Minorities are finding work in record numbers. Businesses and individuals are optimistic about the future. This didn't happen by accident. It was planned. It was predictable, because the same burst of economic energy came when Presidents Kennedy and Reagan cut taxes and regulation. Republicans understand that government can't create prosperity. It can only create conditions that enable the imagination and hard work of Americans to be rewarded. Thanks to President Trump, those conditions exist. The reverse is also true. A large and money-hungry state government takes the shine off of national prosperity. When a government demands more in taxes, whether they're taxes or called fees, workers have less to share with their children, their families, and their communities. Their incentive to work shrinks. So in a state like California, a state held hostage to public sector unions and the progressive ideology, there are big problems. The highest rate of poverty in the nation, the highest rate of homelessness in the nation, a large exodus of the middle class, a huge wealth gap between the rich and the poor. That's not the future we want for Colorado. And judging from recent issue-driven referenda, that's not what most Coloradans want. What we want to be is Colorado, proud and free. We do not want to be Eastern California. In the past 5 years, Colorado taxpayers have handed the government a pay increase in the form of general fund revenues that's 5 times larger than the population growth, 27% compared to 5.8%. In the recent election, voters told the politicians to do their job with the money taxpayers have already provided. Republicans listened. I don't know about you, but I come to each legislative session with a certain frame of reference. Students in bioethics are taught, first, do no harm. Echoes of the Hippocratic Oath. That's also a pretty good place for legislators to start. If I can put it another way for us, first, do no harm to life, liberty, the promotion of justice, mercy, and prosperity. One area where we are not prospering is education. There are many great teachers and schools in Colorado, and every year we're spending more on them. Almost 37% of the state's general fund went to public education in 2018-2019. According to recent audited figures from the Department of Education, Colorado school districts collect nearly $14,000 per student on average from all sources. That works out to $322,000 a year for a class of 23 students and $3.86 million for their 1st to 12th grade experience. That's a lot of money by anyone's reckoning. But many parents know something's not right. For example, when it comes to high school science, fewer than 11% of Black and Hispanic students met or exceeded expectations on the 2018 standardized CMAS test, while a paltry 35% of white students did. That's not right. 8.4% and 9.1% of fourth grade Black and Hispanic students respectively met or exceeded expectations on the 2018 CMAS Social Studies exam. Yet on the seventh grade test, the scores of these groups were 4.5% and 5.3%. In other words, scores got about 50% worse between fourth and seventh grade. That's not right. You might have noticed I provided results from 2018. The results from 2019 are worse. That's not right. Our problem isn't a lack of money. We're spending more than ever. It's a lack of imagination when it comes to offering parents and students more choice in education, when it comes to setting the right priorities, when it comes to putting students first. We need to make it right. Some of that's the legislators' fault. We pass laws that require more administrators when what we really need are more and better teachers. By law, we can't set their salaries, but we can provide school districts more discretion to put more money into classrooms. It's amazing to me that in a society where we can choose whether to shop online or in stores, can choose from several versions of iPhones or Galaxies or whatever, we have choices about how to receive news, where to watch movies, and a host of other things. We still have people that want to limit our choices in education. That's not the way forward. It's no secret that children in urban environments face particular challenges when it comes to education. It's also no secret that a great teacher, an effective teacher, can make a huge difference in the lives of those children. Whether it's a gift or calling, the work they do is important. Far too often, these teachers are undervalued and leave, and their students are the ones to suffer. For that reason, I'll be supporting an education bill to provide a hefty financial supplement to ensure that great teachers doing great work among the underserved are appreciated and rewarded. We need their voice. For years, teachers have paid for things like notebooks and pens for students out of their own pockets. This year, we'll support a bill to cover those costs. We'll give rural and underperforming districts more options to create a better future for themselves, one that puts students first. And we'll support parents by making the school rating system more transparent for them. The vast majority of our caucus has signed up for education bills this year with a twist, to give parents and students more choice, to prioritize spending and make better choices for our children, to put students and families first. These are the values Coloradans support because they know our children will benefit. Providing more educational choice for students and their parents and guardians and having better spending priorities will not only benefit students, but it will also benefit our freedom and democratic process. The ignorant are easily misled, and we rely on an educated people, genuinely educated people. When it comes to business, people should know that we don't regard business as the enemy of the people. Businesses are the employers of the people. Businesses are the people. And so we don't believe it's the role of government to pick winners and losers, to take from one group, punish its success, and give to others while calling it compassion and complaining the middleman is compassionate. That approach divides people. It hurts everyone. It divides people into oppressors and victims, when really, we're all in this together. Last year, we saw a particular bad example of one-sided legislation along these lines. The Colorado Oil and Gas Conservation Commission has slashed well approvals by 57% and permits by 58%. Halliburton has announced layoffs, and PetroShare filed for bankruptcy, citing changes in our laws. Many other companies are struggling. Meanwhile, the outlook for the state economy dropped from 63.4 in the third quarter 2018 to 49.6 for third quarter 2019, according to the Denver Business Journal, with business leaders citing new environmental legislation. So what happens when a man or woman loses a good-paying job as a result? Is the child supposed to be consoled that they've helped save the world when mom or dad can't pay the mortgage? When they're forced to leave friends and relocate to another city? Bad policies have real-world consequences. People get hurt, families get hurt. It's all so avoidable if we just remember, do no harm. When opportunities arise for us to work with Democrats to pass legislation that is good for Colorado and all its people, we'll do it. We're not afraid of working with the other side or giving credit where credit's due. But when bad laws are proposed, when life and liberty and justice are threatened, we'll stand up and fight. When we see a legislative car accident coming, when we see a policy that's been tried and failed in Colorado or somewhere else, we'll try to stop it. Of course, it won't be easy. The average citizen doesn't realize that for the past 20 years, the left has assembled an enormous collection of special interest groups that owe their very existence to the money that Democrats send their way in the form of government grants and the like. The groups have their websites and their committee witnesses, and most of the public doesn't understand where these people come from or how they get paid. But I ask myself, what about the average man and woman? We are committed to be their voice and fight for their values, and that's what we'll do this session. If the rights of parents to safeguard and make decisions about their young child's health care are threatened, as they were last year over vaccines, we'll fight it. The parents of these children recognize the helpful role played by the governor in these debates. We hope it will continue. If the rights to parents to supervise the sex education of their children are threatened like last year, we'll fight it. If the rights of Coloradans to protect their children against criminals with force are threatened by irresponsible or unworkable new gun laws, we'll fight them. If a new payroll tax is imposed under the guise of a fee to establish a state family leave bureaucracy, we'll fight it. If free market reforms to health care are traded in for a new, expensive state version of Obamacare, we'll fight it. And if families and the poor are forced to pay higher utility costs, more for the vehicles they need to use, and suffer under new environmental regulations based on flawed visions of climate alarmists, we will fight it. A lot of what's done here is done under the label of compassion. I use the word myself. But the fact is, the people of our state are compassionate. They give millions to charities to feed the poor, house the homeless, educate children, help those with addictions, and build up faith communities. In addition to the millions they give to charities, Coloradans also enable the state government to care for the least among us, those who cannot afford to care for themselves. For example, every year, taxpayers support families with disabled children. It costs tens of thousands of dollars per family, but it's the right thing to do. It's the compassionate thing to do. But calling something compassionate doesn't make it so. It's no compassion to underwrite the slow-motion suicide of our fellow citizens with safe injection sites. Are you kidding me? And it's no compassion to endanger Americans by shielding violent alien criminals from federal law. Are you kidding me? It would be compassionate, or at least very nice, to improve our roads and bridges, to shorten commutes, to give people access to attainable housing outside expensive and sometimes dangerous metro areas. Governor Polis says that he'll spend $550 million from the general fund on transportation. Republicans will gladly work with him on this because it will help everybody. But if Governor Polis can't get Democrat legislators to support his agenda, or if they propose some bait and switch scheme, or a sort of new taxes that voters have repeatedly rejected, all Coloradans will suffer. Let me conclude with this. In the House, we are committed not to merely political outcomes, but to a process designed to encourage debate and discovery. A process that involves personal relationships, the very opposite of the name-calling we see elsewhere. It's a place where a man or a woman's word is their bond. I appreciate that while Madam Speaker and I don't often see eye to eye, we can look each other in the eye. The Majority Leader and I, we don't often see eye to eye, probably because he's about 2 feet taller than me. We can look each other in the eye. The House and people, when leaders, this is good for the House and leaders. This is good for the House and the people when leaders are true to their word. And so I have a suggestion for this session. Above all, do no harm. In all we do, let's protect life, let's preserve freedom, and let's promote its benefits for all the people of Colorado. May God bless this House and this great state. Thank you.
Majority Leader Garnett.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move that the remarks of the Speaker and the House Minority Leader be printed in the Journal.
If there is no objection, the remarks of the Speaker and the Minority Leader will be printed in the Journal. Are there any further announcements or introductions? Representative Jackson. Actually, Representative Jackson, can we have Representative Lontine go first? I think the timing of this is just going to be perfect. Representative Lontine.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Yesterday, many of us attended a breakfast where our leaders spoke and laid out our agenda for the year. And Minority Leader Neville mentioned that we might want to look into opening pogo stick lane. So in honor of your pogo stick lane, I wanted to give you a pogo stick, Minority Leader Neville.
See, Minority Leader Neville, we can absolutely work together. Representative Jackson.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. As many of you know already, we like to celebrate all of the lives in this room, and therefore, I think I need the Capitol Choir. Come on down. Capitol Choir. Capitol Choir. Okay, we got more coming. We are multi-talented here, folks.
We're a little bit out of tune.
We might be a little bit out of tune. All right. Are we ready? Ready. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Representative Durant. Happy birthday to you.
Majority Leader Garnett.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move that the House stand in recess until later today. Members, we're all done with our business today. We'll read a few bills across the desk, but there's no need for anyone to come back.
If there's no...
You have something? I withdraw my motion.
Representative Gray.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Just a reminder to transportation and local government, we do have both our SMART Act hearing this afternoon, as well as our meeting with the Joint Budget Committee members at 2 p.m. in the State Library across the way.
Representative Williams.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I was asked to remind everyone about the Colorado Restaurant Association's annual get-together tonight. So everyone bring a healthy appetite and let's have a good time. Thanks.
Are there any other announcements or introductions? Majority Leader Garnett. Representative Catlin.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. It's an honor to serve with you.
It's an honor to serve with you, Representative.
Well, I just wanted to say happy birthday to my son, Marcus, over here. He's 22 years old, just a kid like you.
Are there any other announcements or introductions?
Going once.
Majority Leader Garnett.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Happy birthday, Marcus. The Restaurant Association event really is like the best event of the year, so please follow Representative Williams' recommendations and go there tonight.
And with that, you just like offended every other association's dinner. Just kidding.
I don't, I'm always committed to speaking the truth in the well, so it is. With that, I move that the House stand in recess until later today.
Seeing no objection, the House is in recess till later today.